Welcome to the Equine Vet Connect podcast. I'm your host, Dan Carter. I'm a veterinarian and a farrier. The goal of this podcast is to educate horse people, break things down, bust myths, and keep it real. Speaking of breaking things down, here's my legal disclaimer to keep my attorney and insurance company happy. While I am a vet, I may not be your vet. Contact them before trying anything you hear on this podcast. Remember, just because you watched it on YouTube or heard it on a podcast does not mean you can do it. Please use common sense. Welcome back to the Equine Vet Connect podcast here at Countryside Equine Hospital. Exciting day today. We have Dr. Reagan White.
Still weird to hear. It's definitely still weird to hear.
Yeah, I've probably seen her. You were on another podcast episode, but you were just Reagan White then.
Third-year vet student.
Yes.
Now I've done the things, gotten the license.
I know, you're Dr. Reagan White, DVM.
Still can't even introduce myself as Dr. White.
Yeah, I've been Dan. I remember I was at Rood and Riddle, and, it's a big place, and so they paid you over an intercom, and they kept paging Dr. Carter. I had no idea who Dr. Carter was. And I finally had to tell him, I was like, I understand y'all want to do this. I was like, I'm just not into this whole doctor thing. I don't know who Dr. Carter is. If you will page Dan over that intercom,
I'll come running.
Yeah. I was like, because, at that point, I've been Dan for 30 years. I've been Dr. Carter for like 15 minutes. So
I even have my name on my belt right here. They're like, oh, I like your belt. It says DVM. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's down there. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I did that. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Get your name on there in case you like, oh, who am I?
I mean, I might have short-term memory loss.
It can happen.
Maybe if I'm at 2 a.m. colic, I'll forget who I am eventually.
I was at one last night, and I'm getting old. That's what I've decided, because I still wake up at 4:30.
Every day?
Every day.
Yeah, I'm not getting on that train whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm a 4:30, get up, go carpe the diem.
Unless someone calls me to get their horses colicking, I'm not getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
I love it. I wake up every morning ready to carpe the diem. And, when you're out till 2. And, I remember college days, right?
Oh, yeah. 2 was like
2,
early. It's an early night for you.
Yeah, 2 a.m. You're just like, hey, let's go get some, we just need to go get some Waffle House, maybe go grab some crystals.
Keep going.
Yeah.
At least another 2 hours.
Roll into class at 8 a.m. refreshed.
You feel great.
Fantastic.
Now you haven't even gone out. You're just working and you feel like you can't even get out of bed.
I know. It's like, now like you get over 40 and you're like, is it bedtime? No, Dad, it's 8 o'clock. It's bedtime. So, all right. Well, this is a cool topic. Very
cool topic. Kind of a hot topic in the news right now.
Yes. Very, very hot topic.
People probably see it on Facebook, the news. Mm-hmm. It's a big cattle thing, but it definitely still relates to horses for sure.
Yes. We're going to talk about New World Screwworm.
Dun dun dun.
All right, and I'm gonna put the pressure on you. You're gonna pronounce that scientific name.
Oh, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I looked this up multiple times last night to make sure I pronounced it right. I probably still won't pronounce it right, but Coxylomya homnivorax is the scientific name for what we'll be talking about, which is a blowfly. And unlike popular belief, it is not actually a worm, everybody. It is a parasite.
Yes.
So let's clear that up first, because I have been asked if it's a worm.
Mm-hmm. It's technically a maggot.
It's technically a maggot. What we're worried about is the
stage.
maggot. Yes.
The fly is just annoying.
The fly is very annoying.
It's just annoying,
and no one's going to know the difference between the normal blowfly we have here in the U.S. versus this one. It's going to look the same.
Except it eats flesh.
Except it eats living flesh.
Yes. That's because we use a lot of maggots who actually use blowfly or bottlefly.
I was about to say, you're a big fan of your medical grade maggots.
Big fan of medical maggots.
Yes, but that eats dead
tissue only. Necrotic tissue only. This one, it eats it all.
Any warm-blooded living tissue, it just burrows. It's zoonotic, which means you can get it too as a human,
yes,
so you need to be very careful.
Not trying to scare anybody, but we don't need this.
Nope. Unfortunately, it's back in the U.S. The USDA has confirmed 11 cases already in Texas, and we have 1 confirmed case in New Mexico now.
What I always think about is by the time it's confirmed, like it's
already spreading at that point.
Yeah, the cat's out of the bag. That's just the ones we've identified.
Yeah, because to make sure it's not actually a New World screwworm versus just a normal maggot, I mean, we've got to go get samples as veterinarians, send it off. We have to wait for testing, wait for confirmation. They've got a 20-kilometer radius in the zone right now in Texas where they're trying to contain it. But, it's one of those things where horses are traveling in and out of Texas, cattle are traveling in and out of Texas before we caught it. So we really don't know how far it could go at this point.
Yeah, it's let's talk a little bit about it because this isn't like it's a new thing here, right?
No, I mean the history of it actually was in the U.S. at one point, and we had luckily eradicated it back in the 60s. We had a brief scare with it again down in the Florida Keys with the key deer in 2016, but the USDA and scientists got ahead of it. So we've seen it before, we've treated it before. It's just now back kind of with a vengeance.
Yeah, we gotta get rid of it. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. We can actually blame this on COVID.
We can blame it on COVID.
We can blame it on COVID. How about that? We can blame more stuff on COVID. Kids can't read and screwworm's back. COVID. So this parasite, its biggest thing is, the economic importance of this, because let's talk a little bit about life cycle. You're going to have flies buzzing around, and then the flies are going to breed. That's going to fertilize the eggs. The female, they like to find a wound,
or any mucous membrane. So it could be a wound, a laceration. The one down in Texas, that calf, it was its umbilicus that got infected right after birth. So
can also get the eyes. People don't think about the mucous membranes. That's right at the junction of the eye. So when you've got a little bit of a discharge from the eye, their flies are like, ooh, that looks like a good place.
It's a scrumptious snack for them to go sit in.
So they head that way. Gonna lay some eggs. Those eggs are gonna hatch.
They're gonna hatch in that wound and make your larva.
Got some larva. So once we get that larva in there, he's hungry, right? He's got a lot of work to do. He's got to grow. He's got 7 days of growing. Then he's got to store up enough calories because he's got to fall out onto the ground and he's got to pupate.
He does before he can blossom and fly away and start all over again.
Fly away. So it's a pretty intense life cycle, but those 7 days are really important.
That's what we're most concerned about, is that 7 days for sure. Overall, it's a 21-day life cycle, but the 7 days is the biggest impact we are seeing in our livestock species right now.
And these wounds can get absolutely massive.
Huge.
And because they don't lay just one egg.
They're laying over hundreds of eggs in these wounds. And you can look up some pictures, viewer discretion advised when you look them up.
Yeah.
But they are massive. They smell really bad. They are bloody. And they are deep usually by the time someone recognizes them.
I remember in vet school, we look at a lot of nasty pictures.
Right after lunch, jump scare.
Right. Which is why we're immune to about anything.
Yeah.
But these are the ones, I was fine. Oh, look at this cow with it. Look at this horse with it. And it's look at this guy we found in the Amazon rainforest with it. And half his face is gone.
Yeah, that was the biggest jump scare because we were looking at a webinar and stuff, and they started showing the human photos, and it kind of puts it all into perspective for you when someone's hand is half missing.
It's pretty terrifying.
It is actually really, really scary.
So we're not trying to scare anybody. But you do need to know it is zoonotic. It can jump ship. And like I said, we're going to focus today on that larval side of things because these larvae do burrow into the tissue because they got to live, right? They're just looking for a place to live. They're looking for a place to eat. They're going to burrow into tissue. They're eating live tissue. This one gets bigger and bigger. It's going to attract more screwworm flies.
And only that, it's also going to attract bacteria and other types of parasites too, and other types of nasty bugs. So it's important that we get ahead of it.
Economic loss to this was estimated over $3 billion a year. And that's $1960, by the way.
I was about to say, could you imagine with 2026 inflation right now? We didn't do the math, but I don't think I want to do the math at that point.
Maybe somebody out there will do the math and tell us what that's worth today, but I didn't do the math.
No, I'm not a big math economic person, but
I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I love math and I love econ.
That is two of your passions right there.
It is. And I didn't think to do the math. I should have. But yeah, $3 billion loss in the livestock industry alone.
A lot of that comes from the cattle industry, obviously, with the United States, but it could definitely transfer over into the horse industry too, especially down in Texas where we have a ton of quarter horses, breeding operations, stuff like that too.
So what I was thinking about, you get around that Dallas Pilot Point area. Even down in the Houston area, big herds of breeding populations down there. A lot of umbilicuses.
Right. I was about to say a lot of fresh foals hitting the ground at one time, especially because the screwworm loves that humid, hot weather.
Yes.
And I'm sure Texans can say it's hot and humid down there right now for sure.
That's why it's mostly always been like a Gulf Coast, Southwestern. I don't think they really dealt with it much up north. But
as I say, there's not a ton of reports even back then. And, the North doesn't really deal with it. The West Coast doesn't really deal with it. That Southwest, Southeast, all of Central and South America have been dealing with it too.
And one of the ways we find this, veterinarians, we get trained on identifying like that looks like it. That's why they show us so many pictures. And a lot of people don't realize this, but in the veterinary world, the USDA actually has veterinarians that work for them. And we are charged with surveillance, and we have to report certain diseases. Sometimes people get really frustrated with us because we'll see something like, I got to report this.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
And then they're over there going like, do we have to? I'm like, unfortunately, I do. It's not going to be a big deal.
Right. It's just a phone call. Someone will come out, look. We're going to isolate your animal for right now. We're not, you're not the scarlet letter. No one's judging you.
We're not telling anybody about anything.
It's just a safety thing.
Yeah, but we're charged with that. We have to, if we see signs and symptoms, like in this case, a screwworm, veterinarian sees that and they're like, ooh, this looks like screwworm. They're going to pick up the phone. They're going to call their local USDA veterinarian. They're usually hanging out drinking some coffee. I'm not sure what else they really do, but then they're on their way.
They're going to come. They're going to look. Maybe bring a second cup of coffee with them.
Maybe they'll bring one for you or someone else.
That would be kind of
that
nice,
hasn't happened
honestly. Yeah.
So USDA, if you ever want to start doing that, that would be really awesome.
I mean, I'm coming to get my accreditation. You could bring me coffee. But yeah, the USDA will come out. There's the state, there's the national level. Right now with this, the USDA has been working, very closely with local authorities and state authorities. Like down in Texas, the Animal Commission's already gotten on top of it. They've gotten the Zone 1 quarantine rate with the USDA. People are going out and checking all of the time. So it's kind of how we get ahead of it spreading even further. So if you think you potentially have a case of it, it's better to be safe than sorry and to check.
Right, call your veterinarian.
I would rather be called out there, be like, oh no, this just looks like a normal maggot, than being a part of the reason it's now 4 states away.
Right. And we pick on these guys at the USDA a lot, but really and truly, the service they provide,
they're true public servants, because
they truly are.
They are handling your food safety. They are handling your equine safety. I mean, they do a lot for the country and for the U.S. to stay safe. And
they're out there, and like right now, I mean, they're up their elbows trying to figure out how we get rid of this.
And they have been. I mean, it didn't just come out of nowhere. It's not from neglect. I mean, we've had screwworm task forces since the 60s, you know what I mean? It hasn't stopped. Even, there's a ton of cases in Mexico right now. The U.S. and the USDA have been working with the Mexican government to try and, help their cases. Obviously, we share a border. I mean, that border is now closed for livestock transportation, imports and exports. But they've been down there. AAEP has done a wonderful job. They've had a veterinarian in charge of the screwworm initiative even since 2024. So everyone's doing the best they can to stay on top of it from all different aspects right now.
So let's talk a little bit about control, because in my opinion, I mean, the internet's pretty cool. Cell phones are pretty cool. But how we control screwworms,
it's cool.
It might be the greatest... It might be the single greatest thought of the 20th century.
I mean, honestly. Whoever thought of this?
I actually know who it is.
Oh?
His name is Edward Fred Nippling.
Well, Edward did a great job with this thought process.
I'm telling you, this guy, pure genius, right? Because we came up with this is back in the 50s and 60s, right? All right, we're in pure chemical warfare. Like DDT has come on the market.
Oh, yeah. All the organic phosphates are just getting sprayed everywhere.
I mean, we're just spraying this stuff. I mean, there's trucks driving around, fogging everything in sight.
It's the EPA's worst nightmare at this rate.
I think this is why we had to have the EPAs, because we decided, like, we're going after flies, which big fan of. I'm not a fan of flies. But yeah, so they're just like dumping stuff out of planes, driving around. I mean, they are spraying like crazy. I mean, chemical everywhere. It's like an Oprah show. You get some DDT, you get some DDT. We're just slinging this stuff, right?
It's true.
And my man Fred's like, I got this idea. We can do better. And he invented the sterile insect technique.
He did.
This is the coolest thing ever.
He did. I think it's great. It's like the biological amazingness of it all.
Yes.
So he got these female flies. And male flies to breed with the female flies, but the male flies are sterile.
Yes. Interesting fact. I don't know what poor grad student had to figure this out.
I don't know. The late nights in the lab doing that.
The females only mate once.
They do, and then they die.
Lay eggs and die. They only mate one time.
What a life to live.
I'm telling you. So this male, we sterilize him. They had to figure out how. He dreams up this idea, and he's like, well, how do we sterilize a male fly? You can't exactly go in and like castrate them, do a vasectomy. I mean, this isn't doable. They zap them with some radiation. Because luckily, we had the whole Atomic Energy Commission. We figured out ionizing radiation. And he's like, how about we just zap them with a little radiation and mess up their whole genome? Lo and behold, they can breed, but they can't reproduce.
That's right.
And so literally sterile insect technique was born, the sterile male technique. And they're sterilizing these males and they're just dumping them everywhere.
Literally everywhere. And that's how we eradicated it the first time.
Yeah.
And we're still doing it to this day. When I learned this, that there is an Air Force base in Texas, everybody, that was converted just to breed these flies, to dump them throughout Mexico and now to dump them throughout the United States. I was shocked. Because you would never think that that's something that the Air Force would be doing. You should
Google this. They actually have their own logo that's on the planes. It looks like the atomic signal, but there's a fly.
I know, there's a fly. It's the funniest thing. If you just see the fly plane, just clap and cheer them on. They're doing the Lord's work out there.
I mean, they are doing this. But yeah, we just started dumping sterile males everywhere in the U.S. One of the first islands, there's this island in Venezuela. When he had this idea, he's like, I think this will work. And this country is off the coast of Venezuela. We're something like, hey, yeah, let's give this a shot. And it worked. So then everybody's like, oh, Fred's on to something. And then they just started dumping these flies everywhere.
Millions upon millions of flies are getting dumped every day. And getting bred every day.
Every day. This is people's jobs.
Yeah. Their whole job is just to breed flies and to release them. And it's like a little chain of command, too. The flies are like the army of the New World Screwworm.
I like to say we switched from chemical warfare to biologic. I mean, we're out there.
We're just out there doing the things. I mean, there's factories in Mexico that are breeding them. Out through the in South America. At one point, we were lucky that it wasn't getting above Panama.
Yeah.
The history of it's kind of interesting, too.
Yeah, started pushing that thing back. They got them out of Texas, and they're like, hey, Mexico's like, we want in on this.
Yeah.
So we jumped in, partnered up with Mexico, started pushing the flies out of Mexico. Next thing you know, we're blowing our way through Honduras. We're going through Guatemala. We're heading down to Latin America. There's this little country called Panama. Had this great little place called the Darien Gap, which I didn't know that until I was researching this. There's no road.
Yeah, there's no road. I didn't know that either until I was looking it up.
Yeah, no road. Pan American Highway cannot get through there.
Nope.
And I actually just finished a book on the Panama Canal.
Oh, yeah?
Because I'm a nerd. So I was reading about the history of the Panama Canal, and it talked about the Darien Gap. And they were like, yeah, you can't get through there.
Nope.
But, yeah.
Physical and biologic barrier set up.
Yep. Because there's no livestock in there to speak of. It was like this great little area. It's kind of mountainous, rugged.
It's just that dead zone. The flies can only fly for 20 kilometers. So they would fly, can't find a host, and then they would just die.
Yeah. Yep. So beat it all the way back.
Until, unfortunately, it did in 2023, that biological barrier was breached. And that's when we started kind of having this big issue again, and it started spreading and coming more north. And there's a whole task force and eradication prevention program down there that we had with Panama. But once it kind of invaded Mexico, it wasn't an if, it was kind of a win, unfortunately. Right. As much as we are trying to stop it and we didn't want it to come to the U.S., we kind of knew it was going to come eventually.
Yep. And some people say that, when COVID hit, and that's how I'm going to tie it back to COVID, we were having trouble breeding these males because everything's shut down. We don't have guys out there breeding flies. We're not zapping stuff. We got bigger fish to fry.
I was about to say, the medical world just went a different direction, which makes sense, but it definitely didn't help when the production numbers went down drastically.
Yeah. So we quit making sterile males because they were just literally just dumping them out there on the Darien Gap. Like, y'all just go forth, find the one fly that made it, and let's get rid of them. And so unfortunately it jumped. But if you look at how fast it spread, that's kind of the terrifying part. All right, 2023, it jumps the gap.
Yeah. In 3 years, this is where we're already at.
Yeah, and you look at it on a map, it's not like it's next door. I mean, it's got to come all the way back up through Latin America, all the way back to Mexico, back into the U.S. So
yeah, it's been traveling and hopping for a minute now. I mean, one thing, like if you do look at that map, if you look at how many cases are seen in all these different countries in Central America up and through Mexico to get to the U.S., like it's been progressing, unfortunately.
Well, that's the problem is because you got one female fly. She lays hundreds of eggs. She produces hundreds. Let's say they're 50-50 male-female. Dumps 200 eggs. Now I got 100 more flies. That means we can get 100 more infections. It's just an exponential growth.
And it's a 21-day process. And, there's not as much regulation down in those countries. And so, stuff's going unlooked at. There's not as many veterinarians in those countries to regulate and stuff like that, which just goes to show, the importance of having a good veterinarian relationship for your livestock and for your horses.
Yeah. And like I said, we pick on the USDA vets a lot, but they're the ones that are out there taking care of this, and not every country has veterinarians like our USDA does. So I'm going to give a shout out to them. It was actually National Veterinarian Day Appreciation Day the other day, and we never talk about our USDA brethren out there, but you know what? They're fighting the fight.
They are fighting the fight behind the scenes, and not a lot of people know that whatsoever.
Because they're hooked up with CDC. People don't realize all that these veterinarians do with the One Health model, working with the CDC.
And the FDA.
FDA. There's a lot that goes into this. So, yeah, we pick on them.
Right.
But at the same time, these guys are pretty awesome.
Talking about the FDA, they're also a part of
Great
this.
segue.
Thank you. Guys, I can podcast. No. But the FDA has been out there working close with the USDA too, and they've got some things called emergency approval, so conditional approval. So, when we're pulling drugs out of our truck as veterinarians, we have approved drugs that we're allowed to use, and then we can get these emergency approvals. So this is something that we're trying to, get ahead of. And this might not be fully tested because we don't have a ton of research on what could work, especially in the equine community to fight this. But the FDA has come up with 3 different products. We've got the Dectomax injectable.
Yep.
That's actually a cattle product.
It is.
It's approved for cattle for the New World Screwworm. It's doromectin, which is one of our macrocyclic lactones, and that's got an emergency approval for horses at least 1 year or older. Then we've got our F10 antiseptic wound spray and barrier ointments. So those are good antibiotic and insecticidal topical treatments that we can use. And then we also have the Nicosant powder, and that's another really good organophosphate insecticide that has a little bit of an antibiotic coverage in there too.
Yeah, the organophosphates, be careful with those.
Please.
Don't.
And do not put anything on your horse without talking to your veterinarian first, for the love of everything.
Organophosphates can have some trouble.
Very much so, some big trouble. All these insecticides are neurotoxins to the parasite. That doesn't mean you can't still have.
In a high enough dose, it can be a neurotoxin.
To your animal.
Yes.
So we do need to be careful about that. You need to be using them under the direction of a veterinarian.
Yeah, one of the other things that's really simple, but, for years in other countries, the ivermectins, the moxidectins, because they will kill the larval phase of this,
right.
They've been used as well. So there's other methods besides jumping to the big guns, right? But at the same time, there's, luckily we have these products, we've gotten approval through the FDA to use them conditionally. So we're conditionally,
we don't want resistance to them like we've seen with some of our other ivermectin, macrocyclic lactones, with some of our other parasites.
Right.
So, it is important before you do pull these big guns out, like you said, you can do other things like good barn management, good manure removal, don't have standing water everywhere. If your animal has a wound, get on top of it. Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's covered. Make sure it's getting treated,
And before you go scorched earth, make sure it actually is a screwworm.
Please.
Because what we said, we've had 11 cases in the U.S., Texas, New Mexico. So if you're listening and you're in South Carolina, North Carolina, it's probably not a screwworm infestation. So take a deep breath. When in doubt, call your vet.
when in doubt, call. It's probably just a maggot from another type of fly. Yes.
So, but hopefully, if you good wound care, we can prevent maggots anyway. So
yes,
let's
exactly.
go back to the basics.
Let's
of wound
go.
care.
I was gonna say, let's go back to the basics of just good, animal ownership and being on top of it that way for sure.
If you're listening to this podcast, I'm gonna just say you probably got your management down. So
yeah, I was about to say it's not as big of a worry for sure.
But yeah, so we do have some conditional approval for some medications. If we were to see this, we got a plan in place, and like I said, we call, and then guess what? The Air Force is on the way, and they're like
flies, drop,
done, parachutes, dump them out, let's go. So it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I mean, the only other thing that kind of goes along with this too that could affect, our horse owners is there is some travel effects, some regulations that have been put in place, that you need to be aware of. In Texas right now, if you're from that Zone 1 area that they've identified, you've got to be checked by a veterinarian before you're allowed to leave with any livestock or horses. They're really trying to limit movement from that area right now. If you're coming from Texas, some other states might potentially be putting in some other travel effects. So it's always good to, wherever you're going, planning a trip, we recommend this anyway, look up what's required for that state. And if you don't know, call your veterinarian. That's part of our job to make sure that interstate travel is safe for you and safe for your animal.
Well, and that's something I wanted to talk about in this because people get really frustrated because in order to travel, you have to have a health certificate. And everybody's always complaining, why do I have to have this stupid health certificate? Why do we have to follow all these rules? Why do I have to do this? Nobody checks them. I think this is absolutely stupid. Well, I'm gonna stand up for the health certificate because, you got to look at the health certificate. If we didn't have that, we could have horses leaving Texas with a screwworm infection, traveling somewhere else, bringing with them these larvae, populating that area with screwworms. And now we've got another outbreak. And so this could spread rapidly. So, next time you've got to have a health certificate, look at it as hey, this is benefiting the population. We saw it with the herpes situation.
I was about to say, it reminds me of the herpes situation. Right. And it's not at that level yet, but
you look how fast we're able to control those outbreaks.
Right.
Same thing here. We're on top of this. And like I said, slowing down the travel and the spread is one of the big ways we have of containing this and being able to get ahead of it. Because, again, I don't know what a kilometer is, but, we got 20 of them, and we got to drop off those.
Right.
We got to quarantine that area, bombard it with those sterile males. I'd much rather do 20 kilometers than, I don't know,
20 states?
Yeah, 20 states.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, so I know health certificates are a pain in the butt. I know you get frustrated with them.
I was going to say, we're not doing it to be a pain in your butt.
No.
And we're not trying to take your money. It genuinely is for the health and well-being of your horse and for other animals.
We're stopping spread. We're making the world a better place because you don't want somebody coming in bringing screwworms up to the show and then you're like, my horse caught screwworms, which you don't really catch screwworms, but
infested with screwworms too.
You don't want to draw those flies off.
It goes like we said earlier, the One Health Initiative. Veterinarians are a big part of that. So it is zoonotic, like we said, not to scare anyone, but you getting a health cert and making sure your horse isn't infected before a horse show could also help prevent someone from getting screwworms too.
Right, preventing the spread. Let's stop endemic areas. So, so big shout out to the health certificates. Like I said, I know they're a pain. Veterinarians aren't jumping up and down. None of us went to vet school
to write health
certificates. None of us are all excited, you just graduated. How fired up are you about writing a health certificate?
The first one, I think I'm going to be super pumped, sign my name, and then after that, I'm going to be like,
Yeah, you feel like you've reached the pinnacle when you sign that health certificate.
Truly, yeah. That and pulling a Coggins is what gets me out of bed every day.
Exactly. That's why we went to vet school. So, we're not doing it for that. It is the rules. It is the law. But the reason is in situations like this because, a lot of times these diseases are actually found when you're called out to do a livestock inspection. So veterinarian comes out to inspect livestock before they're shipped. They're looking through them and all of a sudden it's that's not supposed to be there.
Right.
Hold up a minute. And especially when we're talking about something that can damage our food supply. If you're watching on video, you're going to see I'm fat. I like to eat. And so I really want food to be out there. And this is how we protect that.
It is how we protect it. And as of right now, don't be worried. It's not affecting your meat that you're getting in the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's not like the slaughter system hasn't been affected right now with cattle. It eats live tissue, not dead tissue. So anything you're consuming.
And you can't catch it.
No.
It's not like if you were to eat, even if it were to affect an animal that did make it to slaughter, you're not going to like eat that steak.
Right.
And then catch screwworm. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work
way.
like that. It's not like a tapeworm. It's gonna,
Yes,
you're
not
gonna be okay.
Catch it. That fly has to light on you. It has to lay those eggs.
Right.
So really, like the risk to people, if you're just providing good good grooming, i.e., you take a shower, you're gonna really limit your exposure.
You are.
If you clean your wounds.
Yes, keep them clean. If you have a wound, don't go up to a maggot. I mean, honestly, you do what you want to do. I won't touch a maggot without gloves, but.
I mean, they're my friends.
I know, you love them.
They just do some. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, certain species of maggots are really good.
Right.
We buy them.
As I say, we buy them, and they've been grown in a lab. They're sterile, in that sense. Like, it's a different situation.
Right.
When you pull off a foot plate and there's maggots that we put there,
yes.
Instead of rolling up on the farm and there's 40 maggots in the 5-day-old wound, that's
yes.
a little bit of a different situation.
That's not good. So, yeah. So not all maggots are bad.
Not all maggots are bad. That's not what we're saying.
But some maggots are bad.
Some maggots just need to have the fly air force deployed on them and get it under control.
I think about this. My guidance counselor did not help me out. Like, she didn't tell me that was a job.
I know. You could be just flying around on your plane and dropping flies.
And the cool thing, this technique is being used in other situations. The sterile males has actually been used to control the Aedes aegypti mosquito. This one actually spreads Zika virus throughout the Caribbean.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the Zika virus.
Yep. So they were actually, some of our listeners know I worked down in the Caymans, and when Zika reared its head back up in the Caribbean, that was one of the techniques they deployed, was using these sterile males to breed out the Aedes aegypti. Yeah. And it was a great biologic control. And it's been used all over the world for different.
I was going to say, it's been used all over the world for different viruses here or there. A lot of things are traveled by insects. And so it's a good way to control it and control it pretty quickly without, like you said, having to use all the chemicals and things like that we've had to in the past.
Yeah, because chemicals, they don't just kill this fly.
No.
I mean, DDT is kind of a scorched earth kind of situation. Like, it wipes them all out.
And there are other insecticides that you can spray for the New World Screwworm tree that have been approved that they know it does work. But
and the simple one's good old perethrins. Mm-hmm. I mean, it works fantastic.
It does work really well.
They work really, really well. That's comes off. It's actually produced by the chrysanthemum plant. That's where it came from.
I was about to say, that's a fun fact.
Fun fact of the day.
Yeah, as I say, your fun plant fact of the day.
I know. Like to say, I'm kind of a redneck that likes to read, but yeah, that's where it came from. But yeah, it works really good. That's what's in most commercially available fly sprays. So simple things like wound management. If you're in an endemic area, common sense, right?
It is.
If you can cover the wound, cover it. Because if the wound's covered, the fly can't get to it.
Can't lay eggs in it.
If you can't cover it, because some horses you can't cover these wounds, like use some of these insect repellents. The permethrins work really, really well for that.
Yeah.
If you start to see, and one of the easy ways to know is or I shouldn't say easy, but one of the telltales that you could possibly be dealing with this. Now, there's other conditions that can look very similar. One of them's haberdema. Haberdemiosis is another. We actually deal with it quite a bit in Georgia, but it's throughout the southern region. I mean, all the way from Arizona to Florida.
I was going to say, it's everywhere at this point, yeah.
It's another fly larva that invades wounds. And if you have a wound and you notice it's starting to get bigger, like a wound should get smaller.
It should start healing. It shouldn't be getting bigger. It shouldn't be getting deeper. And it really shouldn't be smelling like the way that these screwworm ones are smelling. Like, it smells like death, kind of. That's the best way to put it, like rotting flesh, basically. Right,
because I mean, they're in there just killing tissue. So if you got wounds that aren't healing, real quick thing, I'd call my vet. Give them to come take a look, because like I said, you don't want to freak out and say, oh no, I've got screwworm. you may just have a habronema in there.
Right, you might.
Or it could just be an infection that's not allowing this wound to heal. But that's one of the real easy things. If you get a wound that's not wanting to heal, that's getting bigger, not smaller, that's a big indication we could be doing this. And remember, this thing likes mucous membranes, so just think about where the mucous membranes are.
Right. I mean, eyes, mouth, ears, mares, if you have the vulva, anywhere like that, it could set up shop.
Tip of the penis as well.
Yeah, tip of the penis for your gelding friends and
Which,
stallions.
Because geldings usually stay contracted, you may not see it.
You might not see it. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it can take a minute to, that one could be lost for a little bit. But yeah, those areas, if you start to see wounds in those areas, those are the areas these flies are attracted. But like I said, habronema is also attracted there.
Right.
So don't freak out just because it's there. If you're in an endemic area or close to an endemic area, you're concerned about this, call your veterinarian. They'll come out and take a look.
Right.
They got some tools. We can run some tests. We can contact the nerds. We can find out what's going on.
The nerds that know way more about this than even we do.
I know.
We have some training, you get to sit in class and click through the slides of all the different larvae, but they're the ones that really could tell us the difference, and they're pretty quick about getting us answers to it too.
And it's kind of crazy. They'll identify them they'll look at mouth parts of the fly. They look at how many, if you look at these things under a microscope, they got little spiny things on them, or the way their mouth parts are.
I say the mouth parts, size, color, shape, length. If you look at the criteria for identifying a New World screwworm, I looked it up last night and I was like, oh, this is a lot of things to check. I don't know. Maybe I'll just send it to them. They know better.
You're probably not doing that one here.
No.
Not going to self-diagnose this. Probably going to pluck one out, throw it in some alcohol, ship it off to the nerds. Tell me what you got.
What's your thoughts? What you thinking here? Yeah.
Speaking of Panama, that was a big thing because the big issue building the Panama Canal was not the engineering. It was malaria. Mm-hmm. Because you start killing off your workforce and malaria.
I was going to say, you don't really have anyone to help you build a street.
Right. So that was a big thing, is controlling malaria, but they had to figure out how it was spread.
Right.
And that's where the Panama Canal, well, a little bit in Cuba too, between Cuba and in the Panama Canal, they started identifying not all mosquitoes are the same. They started figuring out which ones carried the disease, which ones didn't. It was actually a big deal because they were still arguing if... Some people didn't even believe the mosquito was involved with malaria. They had to go fight the fight and say, no, this thing spread.
Yeah.
And same thing with yellow fever. But
and it's the same thing with this too. They've even gotten it down now. They know the species and they know that they have the green heads on them. I don't know about you, but I'm not looking at a fly that, closely. Be like green head, black head, blue head. Yeah.
I don't really see green, so.
Oh. And if you're colorblind, like Dan, and then you're not even going to know whatsoever.
No. So, yeah, thankfully we got the nerds out there doing this. Mm-hmm. And they're fighting the fight, got the control, got the whole Air Force thing. I did wonder, though, could you imagine if you're, joining the Air Force?
And that's your assignment?
I can't wait to go be a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out there, playing Top Gun.
I was like, okay, Goose and Maverick. And it's like, actually, you got fly duty.
Yeah, you're on patrol.
But you're saving the world.
Yeah. And it'd be kind of relaxing, I would think.
Put your music on. You just get to take off, dump some flies, come back. No one's shooting at you.
And then you got the guy in the back. He was planning to be like, hey, joining the Air Force, right? I'm going to do some really cool stuff. I'm going to put these big drops together. I'm going to, help shoot off a missile or something. And he's loading his boxes of flies.
Yeah.
And go flies. So,
release. Have fun.
But you know what? We appreciate y'all. So if anybody's listening that actually does this.
Yeah, if anyone's a part of this work, we do actually think it's really cool and we do appreciate it.
And if you will call in, I would love to actually get you on the show to talk about
the whole process.
A day in the life
of
getting rid of screwworm. I would absolutely love this. We can do video podcasts. I think, oh Lord, we're nerds.
I want to do a day in the lab down there. I just want to see.
Yeah.
I just want to see what it's like.
In there, let's go make some flies.
If you want to invite us for a tour,
we'd be all for that.
We would totally go.
We'll bring some swag.
Yeah. Countryside hat.
Yeah. And Equine Vet Connect swag.
Oh, and the Equine Vet Connect swag.
Yep. We're going to bring it. And we'd love to come down and see that. So if there's a way to do that,
hit us up.
Yep. So if anybody knows anybody, we'd really love to go see that. But yeah, so absolutely. Fun facts.
Screwworm. Don't panic. Don't read stuff in the Facebook groups. Just like anything else, call your veterinarian.
Yeah, we really are here to help. Your
We are.
veterinarian is here to help.
Yes.
So, and like I said, think about this when next time you're complaining about that health certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that when they're going out there. Think about what the USDA does every day. These are kind of unsung heroes because, like I said, nobody's championing.
No one's and like a lot of people, you go to vet school and it's not necessarily the thing you think you're going to end up doing with your career either.
Mm-hmm.
But we're super, super blessed that people did decide to go that route and the research route, because we wouldn't have our cool sterile flies if someone didn't do it and didn't research it and learn about it.
I know, Fred. Way to go, brother.
He should win an award.
Yeah, and it was, and I read like it was truly the most original thought of the 20th century, and I got to thinking about it later, like it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sort of right up there with PCR, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like there was kind of like, if you look at it in science, there was science before PCR, and then there's science after. And if you really think about it in entomology terms, there was entomology before sterile insect techniques, and now entomology after. And you got to wonder, like, how do people choose? Like, I want to be an entomologist. That's who studied. If in case you're one of those.
Yeah, as I said, that's who's studying all of this. Yeah.
So you go to entomology school, and then you end up saving the world.
That's right. It's kind of just like I was thinking, like penicillin, medicine before and after.
Yeah, great story behind that one too.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they got it out of Europe?
Penicillin?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, fun history fact now.
Yeah, so the way they actually got it out of Europe is the scientists had been working with it because they wanted to get it out of Europe and over to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
He actually took the spores of this penicillium, layered it all in his coat, got on a plane and came to the U.S. and brought the penicillium spores with him.
Well, there you go.
In order to...
He smuggled in penicillin.
He smuggled penicillin in.
I would never have thought to do that in a million years.
I thought it was genius.
That is actually genius.
Yeah, because it's like, well, you can't... even back then, we're talking about when the world's in upheaval.
Mm-hmm.
People are paying attention to who's flying where they're carrying where. There wasn't TSA, but let's face it, back then Germany was looking through your suitcase.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what'd he do? He loads up his jacket, got his little sport coat on, heads up to the airport, lands in the U.S. Like, hey guys, I brought some penicillium with me. Major
medical advances, just sneaking in the middle of the night. You can also thank him for not having maggots in your wounds anymore.
Yes. Some guy dreams. I want to know, like, unfortunately he passed away, but I would have loved to ask him, like, how did you think this
How'd you think of this? Yeah.
And then you think about all the worlds that had to combine because he had to come up with this idea. Well, then we had to have the Atomic Energy Commission over there that came up with this whole ionizing radiation thing and how to make it and then they're like, and then who says, how do we put these two together? Let's take these flies, zap them with some radiation. They're going to be sterile. And then again, there's a lowly grad student out there that found out that this fly only mates once.
And they did sit there and probably have to watch it all night and all day. So that's also an unsung hero for sure.
And so sometimes when you read, and that's the thing I tell people all the time, is like sometimes you don't even realize that what you're doing is really going to make a difference. But you think about this disease, all the things that had to fall into place. Some lowly grad student figured out they only mate once. Somebody's over there messing around. We can zap DNA with the radiation beam, and it no longer works, but the fly can live. And then some guy dreaming up this idea that, hey, let's go dump a bunch of them out there.
Yeah. All the things have to line up into place.
Yes. So if you have a nerd in your life and you're wondering why they're wasting their life studying some random thing
stuck in a lab somewhere,
thank that person.
I was going to say, they're doing a lot of hard work you just might not see and you might not understand. Yeah.
Buy them a beer. Next time you see a nerd, buy them a beer.
Heck yeah, the world goes round on nerds.
Yeah. So, well, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I liked it. That was fun. When I learned about screwworms in vet school, I was fascinated by it, but I never thought I didn't know I'd have. Well, there was no podcast back then. I didn't think I would have a
podcast about the screwworm.
And then I never thought I'd actually do a podcast about screwworms. So it's kind of cool, speaking of nerds. But yeah, so summing things up, if you think you got a problem with this, call your vet.
Yeah.
Call your vet.
Do your normal fly control that you're already doing.
Right.
Call your vet. Get your wounds looked at, keep them clean. And that's the best thing you can do to help prevent the spread and make sure your animal doesn't get it.
Yeah. we're all in this together. So, well, thanks everybody for listening. Dr. Reagan White, thanks for being here today.
Yes, very excited.
I know y'all will be seeing more of her
As I
on
say,
the
you'll be
podcast.
hearing more and seeing more of me.
Yes. So thanks to everybody here at Countryside Equine Hospital. April, thanks for making this podcast possible by getting everything set up, and we're doing all the recording. Casey, thanks for editing. The whole staff here at Countryside Equine Hospital, we can't thank y'all enough for all that y'all do every day. To our listeners out there, thanks for listening, and everybody that supports us, thanks for keeping us from having to get a real job. So
Yeah.
and that's just veterinary medicine in general. Like, I just don't want a real job.
No, it's just coming and playing with the animals you love every day and doing medicine.
Yeah, it's great. So thank you everybody for listening, and we will see y'all next week. Take care.